Hey, fellow architects, it's me, Mario. It's been a while, but I'm finally back to discuss a bit about Architects of the West Kingdom and its apprentices. Thanks to a new tournament by Garfield Games, the interest got reignited into me, so I'm happy to discuss about these little guys once again. Um, we're gonna discuss about patrons today, and I chose this game just because there are three patrons out, so I can discuss about most of them. The only one missing is the two coins one. Before that, let's just remember what we've been discussing about in this apprentice series. Getting an apprentice has an opportunity cost. That opportunity cost is about 2 actions, and a value of an action in the overall architect system is probably around 2 resources. I mean, 2 stone or 2 wood, or 3 clay or 3 coins. It's not easy to say that's the average because the game has a lot of back and forth thanks to the capturing mechanic, but I would say that that's a good standard to keep in mind. So, without further ado, the patrons, who are they and why they can be good or why they can be bad? So, they will let you turn resources into virtue at a better rate than the one that you get at the king's storehouse. So instead of paying 2 among stones, woods, and clays, you pay only 1, or you pay straight up 2 coins for the conversion. So let's start off by saying that they are not great. I don't think that patrons are great. I don't think they fit in every game, but I think they can be good in some particular kind of games, and they can be especially good in the closing stages of a game. Why is that? So, first off, let's talk a bit about virtue. Virtue is something that gives you points or takes away points by the end of the game, and during the game it will let you go on the cathedral while not being able to go to the black market anymore, or go to the black market and pay a bit less on spots that require taxes, like flipping debts, freeing your workers, going to the town center, and getting new apprentices. So, virtue, of course, is a resource, but by the end of the game, most of the time you want to be at least in a neutral zone, or if possible, in the positive zone. Now, this is not always possible, and this is not always true. Sometimes you have buildings that give you so many points, while also giving you negative virtue that it's alright, like the dungeon is the main example. Dungeon gives you 14 victory points, but -2 on the virtue track. So it doesn't matter if you are a bit in the negatives because the building itself already repaid. It paid you in points. But that said, your main objective normally is trying to be in the neutral zone or in the upper zone. Now, this is something that happens naturally if you're going a bit for the cathedral, or if you add other apprentices, like I'm thinking about the squire, for example, that gives you 2 virtue each time that a black market resets, and in general will just give you a virtue. But you want to find ways to get back this virtue, and normally a lot of the time this is thanks to the storehouse, the king's storehouse. That said, the king's storehouse is not an exceptional rate to translate resources into something else. That's why there are patrons and merchants and things like that. And the patrons are the best, in my opinion, in the closing stages of a game, where it's really tricky to understand when you're gonna run out of gas, if you're gonna run out of gas when the game is ending, or if you're gonna run out of gas just before the game is gonna end. So this is a pretty key skill to master in Architects, trying to understand when the game is gonna end and manipulate the tempo of the game in your favor. And it's, I think, like 80% of your winning percentage is going to hinge on that. You really have to read the board, to read what your opponents are doing, and try to position yourself so that by the end of the game you're gonna finish just with the last powerful actions. But that's it. Sometimes it's not possible, or sometimes it's not easy, or sometimes you got an opening and you could, like, I don't know, position the 6th worker on a quarry, you know that it's probably a bit greedy, but now you have so much stone, you had to build a lot, and still you have some few actions by the end of the game with a lot of stone and not enough of the other resources to build something, or maybe you ran out of cards and you still have resources. These are all possible scenarios and are actually scenarios you can plan for if you want to. And that's where the patrons can really be worth it. So a single patron is going to be worth it only if you use the King's Storehouse 4 times. So since you're already spending 1 or 2 resources to get the virtue back, halving the price means that you're gonna need 4 action to get back these 4 resources, which are the cost of the 2 actions you had to pay to get the patron. So you need to use it 4 times. That said, it's not that hard to use the King's Storehouse 4 times, especially if you get other things going with the King's Storehouse. And 4 times in total, the single action. So that means that you just need like 3 workers here are already 6 King's Storehouse actions. So it's not like you need to position 4 guys on the quarry to be able to get back the cost of the stone cutter. You need 4 single action on the quarry to do that, while on the King's Storehouse you need 4 conversions. So you need less than that, and it's pretty easy, I would say, to get 4 action on the King's Storehouse. As with everything that works with the King's Storehouse itself, it's better if you have other combos to go with it. Because if you have like a trader that's gonna give you marble that you might need for a building, you might have already some guys over here because you needed the marble first, and then you can hammer the action to get as many virtue as you can. Out of these ones, probably the strongest one is the clay one, just because 1 clay is worth 33% less than 1 wood or 1 stone. But I would argue that the best one overall is the 2 coins one. It's not complicated actually. The value of 1 clay is the same as the value of 1 coin. So you could say why 2 coins should be better than 1 clay. Well, 2 coins are as good as 1 wood or as good as a stone. So consider that. But of course, they are a bit more than 1 clay. The thing is, in most games, you're gonna have, well, not in most games, but in many games that will see people capturing just a bit each other to keep each other honest during the game. You might have a surplus of coins. And normally you have to find ways to convert those coins and then use the thing you're converting these coins into for something else. Like you can have merchants that will let you convert coins into resources, and then you have to use these resources to do something else. Well, the guy that will let you convert 2 coins into 1 virtue basically skips one of these steps. You convert directly coins into something that hopefully you need anyway, because again, virtue can be point by the end of the game. So probably the coins one in most games can be the best one, but depending on if you have other ways to use coins like merchants, it might be that other patrons are better. So there's not much to discuss. Like using a patron is good if you have cards that will let you lose some virtue, because remember that gaining virtue is important either if you're in the negative zone or if you're from 9 on. If you're between 6, 7, and 8, virtue doesn't do anything. You don't gain any point over here. So you either need to jump onto the virtue train thanks to some other apprentices or some buildings, or like here we have the monument that's like perfect. You gain 2 virtue by playing it, and then you can gain more virtue to get points, or by jumping onto the cathedral, of course. So if you gain some virtue, then the patrons are going to be good to get the extra steps and gain extra points. Or if you had buildings mainly, or if you went to the black market early on, or if you played some apprentices that had you lose virtue, then the patrons are still good because you're gonna gain point coming back from the negative zone. So patrons are good in these two extreme zones. Either you need to gain back the virtue or you want to get virtue to gain points. Remember that you can also use the last step to erase a debt, which is not bad sometimes, like it's some points still by the end of the game. So patrons are good if you're in need of virtue, if the game is ending and you're a bit out of gas, you might get one of the buildings, but that's uncertain. It's better to just invest those two last actions on the King's Storehouse. And if you have synergies in the storehouse. So either you need points, either you have some synergies over the King's Storehouse, or /end, it's the end of the game and you're running out of gas. I would say that these are the three scenarios that will see patrons being good. And if you're in a scenario that has more of these conditions, then it's all good. Like if it's the end of the game, you ran out of gas and you still have some resources, and you need some points thanks to the virtue track, then by all means go for it. Even better if you have some synergy. I would say that synergy, that the King's Storehouse is a distant third condition. But anyway, these are the three conditions that can make the patrons good. I would say that otherwise I would normally stay away from patrons, but I will also say that they are one of the best apprentices to get if you just need the skill icon. Like if I need a brush and there's this patron out, I might still get it to try to use it by the end of the game. If I can't use it, it's okay-ish, but it's not like getting something that is more specific. Like if you get the merchant with a brush, you really want to use it. There is no way that it's gonna do anything for you if you're not gonna make a plan around its ability. But with the patron, you can get by the end of the game and still find a use for it. So I think it's a more of a speculative pick that can be useful than a centerpiece of your strategy, which can be good sometimes. Like again, sometimes you just need an icon, you get it, and maybe you can use it. All right, that's it. It was good to come back to the world of Architects of the West Kingdom, and hopefully in the next few weeks I'm gonna pull out some new videos about that. All right, see you next time. Matters out. Bye bye.